We're coming to the end of 2024. Business owners are going to have to pay thousands, if not millions, in penalties and fees, up to $500 per day because of this new law started January 1st, 2024. It went into effect, and it doesn't matter who wins the presidential election. Unfortunately, a lot of people are going to get caught slipping in regards to a whole surprise of what happened and not complying with this actual rule. This rule is going to charge you in penalties of $500 per day, and you can face fines up to 2 years in jail time not complying with actually taking care of this information. So my family, this is very important. So welcome to the understanding of the BOI requirements, which stands for Beneficial Ownership Information Report. As Unica Games was filling out the deadline for taxes, as you know, October 15th is the deadline if you did an extension with your tax returns for 2024. And so in doing that, the tax extraordinaire, making sure that everyone was taken care of, we were talking about how many individuals are going to get caught up in regards to next year tax time saying, oh my gosh, I didn't do the BOI report. So we wanted to make sure we got in front of this information for our clients, for you, to be able to understand how imperative it is to take care of business and getting this BOI report done, the Beneficial Ownership Information Report. So in this video, Adrienne Mays is going to go over the process and the understanding of what this BOI report is, how it actually can affect you, and how in regards to as a small business owner, who is actually affected by this Beneficial Ownership Information Report. So let's get right into it, as again, our whole goal with Being the Change is helping you understand this Beneficial Ownership Information Requirement and saving you money in 2024. We want to empower your finances, but again, this Beneficial Ownership Information Report is going to stand in the way of a lot of small business owners, just the lack of knowledge and not knowing what to do so. So the Beneficial Ownership Information Report, you are now required by law to file an annual report that discloses information about your company and the owners of the company to the government. So if you do not do this, the government is going to penalize you. And you don't even be afraid of the penalties, because again, if you knock it out and get it taken care of, and that's what we're going to go through everything here in this video. So Adrienne Mays will be in the change. I've got you covered. You're in good hands. So introducing the Beneficial Ownership Information Report, we want to make sure our business owners every day get all of the information that they need in regards to being aware of this new law. So this new law requirement that started January 1st, 2024. And like I said before, people that don't know, again, this LLCs, corporations, they're required to file this information. So a lot of people have a lot of LLCs just lying around, or LLCs they don't even use anymore. But in regards to understanding this video, watch it all the way to the end so I can tell you everything you need to know in regards to being compliant, how you can make sure the transparency is given to you as well as to get it done with the government. So we're going to talk about who is required to actually file versus who is exempt from these requirements, who is actually going to make sure the information, what is needed in regards to filing. We're going to make sure we cover the deadlines for their 3 different buckets of deadlines for people that do file. So you don't want to miss any of this information in order to be well informed for your business as a business owner, as well as where to even file this information and where you can get help if needed. And if you have changes to your Beneficial Ownership Information Report, when in the time frame in regards to getting that done, what is the time frame for that? So let's get right into the actual information and understanding the whole importance of who is actually required to file. In regards to the requirement of filing, who must file and not to get this $500 per day? Again, like I said earlier, it's anyone that has an LLC and a corporation. They must file this annual BOI report, basically registering it with your state. If you register with your state to form your business, you're more than likely required to file this actual form. Now, some people are actually don't have to file this report, and we're going to go into those. And if you operate as an unincorporated business, such as like a sole proprietorship or a general partnership, guess what? You do not need to file this form. So in addition to that, you're also not required to file this form if you're considered an exempt or entity as well. And typically when we hear exempt, we're thinking about a nonprofit organization when we hear tax exempt. So, but there's actually 23 actual organizations when we speak of exempt in this situation for the BOI report that actually fall under this requirement. So 23 other types of exemptions, such as banks, and they can range from a public accounting firm, or it can actually be an investment company or an insurance company, or these inactive entities. And we're going to talk about those inactive entities as well. But these are all about what you need to know in regards to your filing status. So for a second, a lot of people are walking around too with an inactive entity and walking around understanding that maybe they're not engaged with the entity, or not, or don't even know that they're on the paperwork with the LLC that they started maybe years ago. So if you're connected with your name to that, you need to make sure you look in order to see if you're to be considered an inactive entity. And you must meet 6 requirements in regards to being an inactive entity. So the 6 requirements are: number 1, the entity must have been in existence before January of 2020. You're not required to file this report. Number 2, the entity is not currently engaged in any type of active business. Number 3, the entity is not owned by a foreign person. Number 4, the entity has not experienced a change in ownership in the last 12 months. Number 5, the entity has not sent or received funds greater than $11,000. And a lot of people are going to get caught up with that requirement. And number 6, does not hold any type of assets or vehicles like property or equipment. If you do not meet all 6 of these requirements, your entity is not inactive and it is not exempt, and you must file this BOI report. So most businesses, as you can see, over 40 million businesses are registered as entities in the United States. So these entities must file this information. So in order to understand, make sure you check out to see if you're on that listing of the 23 entities that we just discussed. So the big thing is which owners must be reported on the beneficial ownership information report. So basically, if you must be reported, anyone who owns at least 25% of the entity must be reported on this information, or as any owner that exercises a substantial control over the company. So even if you own less than 25% in the entity of it being deemed that control, in some way, you're still required to be reported. Substantial control exists, you have to go ahead and make sure you file this form. If any of the following 4 criteria are met: number 1, say for instance, you're a senior officer, like a CEO or a CFO. For example, number 2, say you have authority to appoint or remove senior officers. Number 3, say for example, you make important decisions for that entity, the entity. And then number 4, say for instance that you have all of the things and you have substantial control over this entity. So if you meet any of those 4 criteria, you are required to file the beneficial ownership information report. So talking about what information is they ask for on this BOI report. So it's simple and easy. You know, they ask for your full legal name, they ask for your birth date, your current address, your business address, your identification number, your EIN number. And it's simple and easy for you to fill this out information. They also want you to have some type of copy of a legal document, such as your driver's license or a passport or a government issued ID. This information is required on the actual BOI report, so have this handy when you're getting ready to fill this information out. So where do you actually understand that to go to actually do that? And I'll show you here shortly to be able to put all this information in, where you can go and get additional information on the website of the FinCEN.gov/BOI. So as you can see, it's very basic information, but when you look at the filing requirements, right? So in regards to the filing requirements on who needs to actually file and at what time. So to avoid penalties, January 1st, 2024, you have to file your BOI by January 1st, 2025, so that you don't have to result in those $500 per day penalty. Now, say for instance, if you had your entity before January 1st, 2024. So those entities, if you're before January 1st, 2024, you have to do it before January 1st, 2025. If you established it after January 1st, 2024, you have 90 days in order to file that information to make sure that you can avoid penalties and fees. And they're going to get a little bit more stringent with you in regards to 2025. If you have 30 days, if you start a new business in 2025, to be able to get this information done. And this is an annual form. So this is not like a one-time thing. So you must make sure you file this information. So let's jump to see where do you go to get this done. You go simply to FinCEN.gov/BOI, the Beneficial Ownership Information Report. And you're able to literally get more information besides Adrian Mays with being the change, giving you the information. You're able to get information like a demonstration and more documents and questions in regards to how to fill this form out. And so if you want to fill the form out online, they give you an option to select here, and you'll be able to then go through the process of filling out the Beneficial Ownership Information Report and getting started. So making sure that you have all of the information available that I mentioned to you, make sure you have a copy of a government issued ID before you get started, and you can be able to get this done and make sure you get all of the information needed, and it get the simple and easy to knock it out in regards to your filing. But the key thing is people are sleeping on it. And so even we talked about this back in March and April of 2024, when you go to FinCEN.gov, get it done. That's a simple thing, because you don't want to put yourself into a situation where you're actually not filing this BOI report and you have penalties up to $500 per day. And so the last thing we'll talk about here is if you have changes to report on your BOI, make sure you do that within 30 days of the change. So being compliant is key. And if any of the information changes, just update the information in the BOI, simple and easy. And so what are some things that could change? It could be like, for example, new DBAs, or changing in ownership percentages, or if you have a new business partner, or even if you have an address change. These changes must be filed within 30 days of the change. So that way you're compliant with the government and don't have to worry about things you don't have to worry about. So the great thing is, in regards to how to update the information, just go to FinCEN.gov/BOI. And that way you're able to get the information. You have questions that can get answered in regards to help as well. And so if you want to add a new business partner or hire a CEO, or even simple as an address change, you want to make sure you get this done, and doing the same way in regards to getting the information processed for you to update that information in your file. So make sure you're timely, because again, updates in all this is crucial, so you don't have penalties and fines up to $10,000, and it could lead to further action like jail time, which is not anything anybody wants to get involved with. So being compliant is the key. And being the change because we care. If you need help in regards to this, we are here in regards to helping our small business owners to be able to formulate the opportunity to learn and grow and build their financial empowerment. But the key thing we're focusing on this video is making sure that we are not having any fines up to $500 per day come wrapping it towards the end. So Unica Gaines, the tax extraordinaire, is making sure that she strategizes and saves and succeeds for her clients. But if you have a small business and you're not taking care of business, you want to go ahead and knock this out. So in this video here today, we were able to get everything we needed in regards to the growth and opportunities of building your billionaire brand with digital real estate, kindness, and knowledge, with understanding how effective it will be, or how beneficial it will be for you to avoid fines up to $500 per day by simply not filling out a form. So Adrian Mays, being the change because we care. Make sure you head over to our website if you have any questions, and drop them below as well. If you have questions, if you're qualified as an entity that does or does not need to apply for the form, but we're here for you. Being the change because we care. Your financial education matters. Save around your tax times. Come on, my friends. I can, I will, I must. Let's go. What up, though, Detroit? Deuces.